Wow. I could just do that the rest of the forenoon. I don't know. How many of you were not here last night? Let's say that. Who was not here last night? I went to Gene following just an anointed service of worship last evening. Such God dispenses gifts as He would, and as Gene shared with us last night, and then Sean and I go way back. Sean used to be on the bus when I went to New York. I went to New York City 21 years straight. I don't know how many of those bus type trips you were on, Sean, but he was our go-to man, and just an anointed, gifted man in his love for music. Well, I'm going to be asking, there they are, Marvin, Rachel to come. Justin, Krista, are you Justin is? Come on up. Come on up, guys. You've met them in the registration, right? That does not come about. AI didn't do that, okay? This is the hard work behind the scenes. Again, with such gifted people. Justin, he's the Energizer Bunny behind the scenes doing all the hard negotiations with you and emails and registrations. Marv, he's the Marv Trump. He's the art of the deal with the Hyatt. Come on up, guys. Huh? Rachel's not coming on the stage. Come on, Rachel. She's been a problem child for a long time. There she comes. There comes Krista. Again, Justin, Krista, Marv, and Rachel, just extraordinary. Thank them as you were. Such organization, amazing.
Well, it's really good to be with you here again this weekend. We're looking forward to it. Wednesday afternoon, when we checked in, Rachel and I were there at the counter, at the check-in, and in total, who we are, what group. And the lady there, this is what she said. She looked at me and said, this group is the favorite group of the year. And it's because of you guys. They said the respect, the friendliness, what you guys show to them is remembered. I think this is the fourth year we're here, and a lot of these staff have been with us the 4 years. So they remember you guys, and you guys definitely do leave an impression on them. So thank you for that. The only announcement I would have today is just after the session, let's be prompt to get in the food line right away, do the visiting in the food line, and also while you're eating, that helps the staff out there with what they got prepared for us. So thank you. And if you guys need anything throughout the next today and tomorrow, please let one of us know. We will try and get what you need. Thank you.
Again, thank you so very, very much. I appreciate everything they're doing. If you need anything, they're the ones to know. So they help us out, and all of you as well. Thanks again, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, Rachel. There's some supplies up here or something. Somebody left. At least I think so. It says got your name on it. It says, Rachel, on it. Right on front of the radiator. It says, Rachel. You better take it with you. Huh? I don't know what that is. Do you guys know what that is? It's her birthday. To you. We may need security later for me. Oh, a little levity does as well, doesn't it? Okay, we're going to dive right into our business part of it. Dave Nisley is an extraordinary member of our group. I want to say irreplaceable. He might not think so, but he's going to come immediately share the financial and the minutes review and approval.
It's good to be here. And if you have not notice, these minutes and the financials were not in your packets this year. We saved some paper. There are hard copies on the tables out there, a table out there at the registration if you want to pick one up, or you can scan the QR code and see it electronically. Last week, I believe it was, I had sent out the minutes for review, and there were no corrections noted, so could I have a motion to accept the minutes from last year's meeting as presented?
I make a motion we accept those minutes.
Who was that, Dean? Second?
Second.
Thank you, Shannon. Is there approval, is there agreement and approval for the minutes? Thank you. And then on the financial report, it's a one-page report. This was always a little bit of a difficult one to even know. We want to be transparent with you and disclose what's going on, but we run a July 1 to June 30 fiscal year. And so as of the current year, we have July 1 through December 31. There's very little activity because obviously this event and so forth is in January. And so, and this event is the primary activity that we have related to the general fund of ADC. I will note that last year we had a surplus of $3,000 over the annual assembly costs, which is great. It ran around $130,000 last year, and so that was covered. However, for the year, for the fiscal year, we had about a $1,400 deficit in the general fund. Certainly not much, but just so you're aware. A goal that we would have is that we could have the cost of next year's assembly in the general fund so that we can pay that prior to, because we have to pay this in full as of last week. So there is a loan, short-term loan and personal funds at stake between when we pay this last week until we get all the donations and the funds in here in the coming, this week and next week or whenever. So a plea would be if you churches could step up and we could have $150,000 just in the account, and that way we could float this expense much more easily, and it would not put anyone's personal funds at stake. So we'd love to see that happen here over the next year, if possible. Is there a motion to accept the financial report that was presented and available to you? I should first say, is there any questions? Your motion to accept the financial? Merv, thank you. Thank you, Phil. And is approval, support to approve that motion? Thank you. I will mention one other thing. One additional cost that we are starting to incur is mailing out the hard copies of the ADC Disciple. But again, that comes out of the general fund, and so that is some additional cost, but I also think it's a real blessing to have these hard copies in our hands versus just electronic copies. So thank you. I'll turn the time back over to Lonnie.
This is all an exciting part. This is our new participating churches who became members, and I'm going to have you come up. We only had 3 represented. 2 of them canceled entirely. One of them's from Colorado, would be in Skyline, and as well as was Haven Mennonite from Arkansas. It was 2 of them. And so we'll do that next year, but they are officially members, as you see on the website. I'm going to start from the top. As One Church, if you'd make your way forward, and Gospel Revival, if you just follow up to the side so you're ready to come on the platform. I believe Joe might be my only, come on up, Joe. I don't know, did you mean that as one church, as one person? Is that? Love your brother. He's alone. There's activity happening at As One Church in the middle of Detroit. Excited for them. They've I don't know what you call that when Brian Smucker, you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, so Byron and I were commissioned this past Sunday. So we're grateful for where God is bringing the church. And we had Mark and his wife up there recently as well. Good to see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, as one church in Detroit, some activity happening there, possibly through missions that we will hear later, mission opportunities with a cafe possibly. But anyway, I like the start and what's happening up there, and let's make them welcome. Thank you very much. Oh no, your brides are coming with you. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. You're not whole, guys. Come on up. When they come, we'll come up. And following that, we'll bring Redeemed Christian because the others aren't available. You can take a little time because you want to watch this presentation. Come on up, guys. We were privileged. A few of us have been privileged. Mark, for sure. I've been there. Pastor Nate Yoder's been there. They have a nice little church in Loudonville called Gospel Revival. And the first time I was there, I did not know where you guys were taking me. It was a kind of a commercial, I don't know what I was driving into, a brick yard. And the best makeover I've ever seen. Went up this stairway, and inside is beautiful church. Now they have their own church, but I kind of miss the place. That's why I envisioned them there. But this is John and Rachel Kaufman. They were the leaders. And it's Eddie and Irene as ministers, and Joe and Katie Ann Troyer, I believe deacon, or is it minister? Huh? Elders, I'm sorry, elders. That's what I am. I'm an elder, yeah. And I think there was a representative here last year, Henry Sworry. Is he here? He was going to make it anyway. Anyway, they were a nice little church, and just it's not a small church really. They've got a nice young couples and married people there, and wonderful organization. Make them welcome, please. Thank you so much. Redeemed Christian, make your way up here. I believe they're missing one couple for illness, Jay and Lorene Baumgardner. They were here last year, and so come on up. They used to be from Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and they have now a church house, a Methodist church they've redone in Brownstown, which is just 3 miles from where Lidditz was. I kind of scolded them. I had a hard time with Lidditz to start with. Now they're going to move to Brownstown. I was so proud I finally figured out Lidditz. I went to Dean and Kendra lead, I believe. Your lead role there. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. And Jay and Marilyn, last name Martin. Should just guessed at it. This is a new couple, yes. Steve and Julie Nolt, and I remember Harvey and Marianne Fox, who now have a son in Plain City that I didn't know, and I'm delighted to make that connection. Just delighted. And like it wasn't hard enough, we've got Dean, right? Dean Zimmerman. It's amazing what they've done with 3D printing. Dean Zimmerman. His registration is in Dean I. It looks like a 1, so I thought it was Dean 1. I don't know if they've got a battle going on, but this is Dean and Marilyn, same team. And what's that? That's it? Melanie, I'm sorry. Ooh, more security. Dean and Melanie Zimmerman. Anyway, delighted with the process they took and how they've come here, and I just see it's going to be a great, great asset to us. I appreciate your ministry and your service. God bless you. Let's make them welcome. For the next little piece here, I want to make a statement to the visitors. I know we had some time last night. I don't know who new showed up today, but I'm just trusting our time together is an asset to you. It is an asset to us as you come and fellowship with us. We're very transparent here. There's no question that you can't ask. We have nothing to hide. We're an open book here. So we're going to have a Q&A later, and so be mindful of that. Everything that happens with Impact and stuff, if there's questions you have, we will have a Q&A at the end. I'll hold that fast this year, okay? But I don't want to embarrass you. At the same time, if you're wondering why the person next to you might not be all warm and fuzzy, maybe it's because that he's also new, and we don't know that. So can you stand? Whoever's here first, some of you are new pastors as well, and I have you stand with them. Who's here for the first time? Would you stand for us? That is wonderful. Look around for you so we know who to be hospitable to, right? Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and welcome. Welcome again. And as I'm saying that, if there's any interest here going forward, we don't recruit. That's not who we are. We don't need to. That's God's work. But if you have any interest or whatever in this is something you want to pursue, talk to the committee here. We would do in-face a presentation. We're not just the next denomination or affiliation to jump into. We have an individual vision and mission and purpose that we're very, very focused on, and we'd love to have you partner with us in that vision. And yet we'd like to have a relationship with your congregation and be there and meet people. And so that's the invitation for you. Next up is our planning committee election report. I'll do this very quickly. As you know, by your voice, we brought back Pastor James Yoder from Berea. James was one of the founding fathers, and we are so delighted. He brings such a wealth of history and wisdom to our board, and it's delightful. We wanted to go to a 4-member board. You helped us with that, and James is back on. With that, we've had to go to 4-year terms now versus 3. We made that executive decision inside of us here, and so don't worry, I'm not going to serve any longer. But starting with Dave, we will be. And so you see the eligibilities in front of you. What I want to highlight here is Paul A. and Barbara. Paul A. Miller was one of the founding fathers as well. He's here today. He has been on our advisory. He has served 8 years, and then he served 3 more with us. He's been here for, actually it was 7 and 3. Served with just exemplary. He's gifted differently than the rest of us. I mean, ask me to make a document, just shoot me. Paul, he does that on vacation, okay? This gift and just extraordinary, exemplary service to us and to all of us. And he's been walking into the sunset for so long, I think he's about to dawn again. So, where is Paul? There he is, brother. Love you, bro. We're going to do with him, I know he's off now, but we're going to do with him like we've done with the others. We still ring their phones. Bill Mollett, Pastor Bill Mollett, James, we've always sought their advice, and we will continue to do so, invited or uninvited. Okay? Thank you so much for your attention on that. I'm going to turn the time over right now to Mark Miller, who's going to share on the youth report.
So good morning. Just very quickly here, just going to go 2 slides here for the youth report. This is a slide from last year. So this is held annually the first weekend in May at the Oaks Retreat Center near Greenville, Tennessee. There's a youth committee that heads this up. They run the event. Larian and Cheryl Stoltzfus and Maureen and I are advisors with them, and so we sit with them as they plan, but they do the bulk of the work. We show up and enjoy the weekend with them. So that's always a delight to be there. Last year's theme was God's Will as a Way of Life, with those subpoints there, and we were delighted to have Timothy and Sarah from Sarasota there to share with us last year. There's always about 250 youth and sponsors that show up. This is a down there for this retreat. It is held at the Oaks Center. I think I said that. But one of the challenges, I'll just go through the theme for this year. The theme this year is discipleship, and it's essentially the same theme we had the first year. One of the core values of this event is we're trying to make a strong connection from our youth to the ADC affiliation. We recognize that if we think back in our time for me it was the Beachies, for some of you it was maybe other affiliations, there was CBS, there was times there were fellowship meetings, there was times you could hang out with, and that's where you made connections. This is one of the major points and parts of this event. And so went back here. So the theme this year is discipleship. Primary speaker is Lonnie, and we have some workshops. That first one was one that they chose, Christian nationalism. Like, what do we do with that? Very pertinent. Dean Taylor will be sharing that, and then some different workshops there. Some of the challenges that we're facing as we're growing. Youth sponsors and youth pastors often rotate in and out, and so our contact list for the youth in your church is often different every year. And so just help us as you see requests for new information, get that out to us so we can do that. We also are limited in space. We have a space for about 250 on site, and then we have the youth sponsors often stay off site. This year we are limiting the age 16 and up, simply because I know some of your youth groups start at 15. We simply needed to make that so we have space for everyone that's there. And we also limit this to youth that regularly attend ADC churches. And one of the themes or trends we started seeing last year is everyone's a friend of someone, and so they'll just sign up under your church. You have youth that you don't know about. Because they were at our event, and I'm like, they don't even live close. But so this is happening, and this isn't a huge problem. We want there to be interaction, but this is something that what did happen, though, is some of the youth from your churches weren't able to get in. And so just be aware of that as youth and as pastors and youth sponsors. Registration will open the middle of March, and encourage your youth to sign up quickly, because it does fill up fairly quickly, and then when it's full, we're unfortunately full. So, thank you. Yes. Oh, okay. We do have the Education Committee up next, and I'm asked Paul to come up and present on that.
Good morning. Yeah, wanted to check what break time is to make sure that I don't wreck the schedule here this morning. So ADC has chosen an identity as sustainable kingdom churches. Those are carefully chosen words. What is a kingdom church? What is the church in the kingdom? How are churches sustainable? So these are so I want to kind of start at the 30,000-foot level, as we say, and kind of create a broad vision as we talk about the educational component of ADC. So carefully chosen words to capture the different components of a holistic vision for a group of like-minded churches who understand that the Great Commission is greater than any single congregation. And so we carry out the Great Commission together. So this is an initiative, an educational initiative that is a component of support to our efforts to carry out the Great Commission together. taking a quick look here at the overall organization of the affiliation ADC. Let me go back again and say that we are Congregationalists. We believe in elder-led congregationalism as a form of church government, but we are essentially Congregationalists, which means that we operate churches as autonomous local congregations, joined together in a network of participating churches. That's the terminology we use. Not member churches, but participating churches, because you voluntarily chose to be a part of this network. So, overarching everything are the autonomous local churches, but we are joined together in an affiliation. We have at the ADC Planning Committee. Now, I noticed that this block has not been updated. When we began, it was a planning committee. 10 years later or more, it's actually now a leadership team, but we haven't updated that. Then, of course, there's a logistics committee. You just met them this morning. So the next arm of our church affiliation that was developed is the mission board to carry out the Great Commission. And you'll be hearing later, Tim Byler leads that effort. The mission board, I believe, will be giving a report here this morning. So you'll be hearing later from them. So then there's a third arm, or another arm, if you will, over here on this side, an education committee. So what is the purpose of an education committee? One is to enable, remember that sustainable is a key word, sustainable kingdom churches. Part of what the Education Committee does is help us sustain a very crucial aspect of our church health, to sustain bivocational pastoring. So this is the one aspect. Another is to sustain long-term missionaries. Like church planting, we believe that essentially the Great Commission is to plant churches. And so, in particular, where the gospel is not represented. And so to plant churches. And this is not a work that is conducive for short-term mission rotations, but it takes long-term committed couples. And so this is to sustain our long-term missionaries. It also sustains our youth ministries. We have youth, we have like vibrant youth, willing workers, and many ministries that are dependent upon the youth of our churches. And so it sustains them, and then also it sustains youth that are on I don't know if degreed is the right word, but you know what I mean. They're on the path toward a degree. So, and we'll talk more about that later then. But essentially, it's kind of in summary, the youth, the Education Committee is to sustain ADC churches. I'm looking for a clock here. Is there one? Yeah. Kind of keep me on schedule. Okay, give me a signal. Okay. All right. So we are proposing to you this morning to reform or reset from an action that was taken 2 years ago, or in 2023 rather, 3 years ago, when you approved the election of a biblical studies task force. And it was essentially to address this question of education. So that task force is Mark Miller and Tim Byler. Mark, put up your hand. Tim Byler and Dean Taylor. Dean, are you somewhere here in the back? And myself. And so we're now at the place where we're ready for like future action. And
It's taken us, several years to get to this point, but we are proposing now and here's a proposed motion to reformat as the ADC Education and Training Committee, and to establish a formal partnership between ADC and Zolliken Institute. How many of you were here last evening and sat in on the sessions that were presented here? So, thank you. Good showing here. So, to establish a partnership recognizing Zolliken as a primary training partner for ADC pastoral and missionary training, and then to seek additional board members for the education committee to ensure objectivity and broad-based support. And so what underlies this, especially the third point there, is that of the committee that was appointed in 2023, all four of us are involved in some capacity with Zolliken Institute. While Zolliken Institute is an independent organization, it's not formed by ADC. There is a strong alignment, so strong that we want to establish a formal partnership, a working agreement, whereby Zolliken becomes the educational initiative of ADC and provides the training that we are needing to sustain our churches and to sustain our mission efforts. And so we feel the need to formalize this committee and add additional board members for objectivity, since Mark and I are both board members of Zolliken. Dean Taylor is the president, and Tim is an instructor. And so we need more objectivity. And so that's the proposal. We will table it for now, and I believe that we'll circle back to it later, and then it will become an action item. Are there any questions that anyone would have about what I've presented here?
Maybe just that the educational arm, maybe clarify that the educational committee would do more than just Zolliken. There are some resources.
Yeah, true. The educational Zolliken Institutes, the partnership with Zolliken would be one aspect of what the education committee does. There's also if you go to our website, there is a resource page that lists many different resources. That's under the umbrella of the education, would be under the umbrella of the education committee as well. The clock went black there. A part of what we would, 3 minutes, let me wrap this up real quick. If you think about, well, how would this work? So say, for example, you as a church have an ordination, and we have a newly ordained young minister. Okay, so as a church, you would have this additional tool in your toolbox. And what it could be is that you would, as a church, then sponsor your newly ordained minister to take classes at Zolliken Institute. And it could be classes that are on as we put it, on a certificate level. It's not on a path toward a degree, but it's just for personal development. And so you could take classes like Brother Dean just described last evening, like come to Zolliken for a week of intense, like the intensive week, where you present the subject, and then so you're on campus for the first week and online for the rest of the course. And in that way, gain personal knowledge, gain personal growth. That could also be done for all members of your pastoral team. We are looking to develop a relationship, where you as a church can sponsor your workers, your pastors, your leaders, those who feed the flock, to
grow in knowledge, grow in grace, grow in knowledge. So we're looking for that. We're also suggesting then that maybe you as a church are able to identify a long-term Christian worker or a couple, and then sponsor the development to prepare them to go into a foreign culture and take classes in cross-cultural training, take classes in historical Christian doctrine to make sure that the couples who are in a cross-cultural setting, ministering to other faiths, that they are able to stay within historical Christianity and take apologetics courses so they're able to answer the question for the hope that lies within us. And so all of this to say that Zolliken Institute and the associated work of the Educational Committee is like a hand in a glove with Impact International and with the health of our churches, and will enable us to flourish in the kingdom and be sustainable. So that's what underlies the proposal that will be brought back to you. Any questions? If not, I'll turn the time back to Brother Lonnie.
I told you he was walking into the dawn, right? He's like a vending machine. I feed him a question and it just spits out. Thank you, Paul. So valuable for us. I'm so excited about this initiative and what it means. So many of you young pastors and pastors have been asking about this, and is there a place, and what can we do? And this is a little bit futuristic yet, but it's already begun. And those are some big answers for us, I believe. Again, the committee's dean for sure can answer a lot of these questions. We're going to take just a few minutes, 8 minutes and 50 seconds break. Okay, I'm being sarcastic, but I know Mennonites, you guys aren't going to make it back in here. We have a lot happening. So stand. If you need a break down the hallway, go, but don't go far, okay? Rachel's, she's walking around with a wand out there. So. Thank you. It's just a pleasure to listen to that buzz. That's good fellowship. We're going to go right into our second piece of it here, Impact International. Just exciting things that are happening. And there'll be Pastor Tim Byler, who's the executive director of Impact International. I think he's going to have Pastor Judd Schrock, who's on the committee, come first. Judd, if you'd come. I'll turn it to you guys.
Good morning to each of you. Come on, you can do better than that. Good morning. All right, yes. We're excited. I've been reading in the book of Nehemiah, and just want to share this in connection to Impact International. We see in the story of Nehemiah that he heard how things were going in Jerusalem. And then when he heard this, he sat down and he wept and fasted and mourned before God. And the first chapter is basically his prayer then. And it's really, really awesome what happened. And I want to turn and share the same thing happened for Jesus when he looked out. When he saw the crowds in Matthew 9, verse 36, he had compassion for them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then said he to the disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few." Most of my life, I've stopped right there and began scrambling. But I want to point out that something happens. You hear, you see, and a stir begins. Notice Jesus had compassion when he saw. Nehemiah, when he heard, he began to stir, and something began inside. And then the next step, and both of them, Jesus encourages it, Nehemiah did it, and that was prayer. So it's a call to prayer for this assembly, because there is a stir in ADC. There is a movement. There have things been seen. There are opportunities, and they lay before us. And we're excited about those. And this morning, I just want to take time and thank Tim and Eleanor for what they're doing as administrator of Impact. He's working alone. Virginia, we're so thankful for Virginia Beachy's help as the administrative assistant, but different location. And so sometimes I think Tim feels like Nehemiah did, before he could in 52 days build the wall, because that's who Tim is. In 52 days, he would get this done, okay? And we're going to get him there sometime. But right now, he's still riding around the city in the dark, secretly scoping things, like Nehemiah did before he started building. But we're going to turn him loose here very shortly. So look out, everyone. We're so blessed by what he is doing. We want to just share that. And we're also blessed by our board. I want to share our financial standing. Kim Eichhorn is our treasurer. Gene Beachy is the secretary. Mark Miller is the liaison member. And Merv is at-large member. So would all of you couples stand so everybody can see our board members? Because we're going to ask for another board member, and you're going to be working with these people. You have to observe before you volunteer. All right? As couples, would you stand? Yeah, Amy. Okay. Very good. This is our board. So this morning, we are doing an ask. We have asked several times through email. You know how many board nominees have come? Nada. So if I leave this weekend without a nomination, I'm locking the doors. So we take volunteers and we take nominations, and we are doing an ask this weekend. We want to add a board member. We would like to create a slate here in February yet and get it out for voting in February and have that board member join us in our spring meeting in March. So we are asking that if you have a name you'd like to nominate, or if you would like to volunteer to serve on the ADC Impact Mission Committee board, that you would contact one of us board members this weekend and give your name or give someone's name, and we will create a slate and put it out there. So that is the ask that I'm doing this morning. But our financial, is that? Okay. So this is our budget for the year. One of the things that I just want to share, I don't have a slide that shows our financial position, but currently our financial position as an impact board, we currently have about $430,000, and that was money that was raised here at the assembly and following. And our goal of getting funds for operations from you churches has been almost reached. This year, we had contributions of $180,815, and we had to use out of those reserves for operation $35,000. Our administrative operating expense was $173,733 this last year, and our missions was $81,000. Our budget has increased for this year, but our operating expenses have only gone up incrementally, which we're thankful for. We want to take care of our people. We're able to cut costs and some other things in our second year of budget. And you notice where our increase in budget is in our missions operations. That's the part we're excited about, is that we're trying to increase what we're doing, and you're going to hear about those things this morning. There are detailed financial statements available if anybody would like them. And as you see, we're still about $35,000 short on monthly contributions from churches. So that's a call we're putting out as well. We do have 17 participating churches that brought in about this, and then the rest of the donations that brought us to our contributions were from individuals. So our vision is that the administrative operations are covered through church funding throughout the year and monthly contributions if we can, and then that our seed money that we have plans for some of that seed money. You'll hear about that, and we want to continue to use that in growing the missions operations for what was raised here and continued raising of funds. So we're excited about what God is doing, and next is Tim Byler. So he was very eager to get me off the stage this morning, so I think I've got it accomplished. Come on up, Tim. Thanks for what you do.
Well, you all know Judd's proclivity toward rambling, so I need to stay on him. Accurate description, Judd. I am kind of like the guy walking around in the dark most of the time. Last year at the ADC Youth Retreat, I shared a quote, and as I was sharing it, I realized maybe how hardcore it was, but I believe it, so I'm going to share it again. What you don't know is that this is actually the most important part of the weekend. Sorry to the rest of you. Oswald J. Smith says, any church that is not seriously involved in helping fulfill the Great Commission has forfeited its biblical right to exist. So, this is the most important part of the weekend. So, excited to share with you today. There's quite a few moving parts. I think it's pretty important that you hear from different voices, not just from me. And so as we work down through the different opportunities that we're facing, we're going to have different people sharing, beginning with, there's another place on this planet that I love, and that's Albania. I love it for two reasons. So anybody who knows me knows that I love food, and I love to eat food from different countries. Well, that actually makes me think of Don't Ever Fly Etihad. We went to India last year. First flight, what's for lunch? Curry. What's for dinner? Curry. Had a layover. Second flight, what's for breakfast? Curry. What's for lunch? Curry. What's for dinner? Curry. Curry 5 times on the way there. Curry while we were there. Curry 5 times on the way home. And we get home just before Thanksgiving, and Eleanor's family is together for Thanksgiving, and the next night the family's getting together, and what are they having? Flippin' curry. But I love curry. I took a bit of a break from it, and we've gone to Indian restaurants, and I love curry. Anyway, so Albania, back to Albania. I love to go to Albania for multiple reasons. Two big reasons. One is the food is amazing. Like, can you imagine Turkish / Italian food? Like, it's incredible. But even bigger than that is the conversations I have with Brother Samir around that food, the various and diverse conversations, absolutely amazing. But before we get to Samir, we're going to have Phil come up and share with us. If you make your way up, Phil, had the privilege of leading a vision trip to Albania in November, and was delighted to have Phil and Norma with us. He'll introduce the group. I took our daughter Allison along, and it was an incredible growing experience for her to spend a good amount of time with Phil and his needling and poking, and she's matured quite a bit. Yeah.
I don't know.
I want my kids to get married young so we can go back to missions, and he worked hard at that. So
Yeah. Bless you, Tim. I don't know
what you all see in your churches, but Tim's daughter has the same thing that my granddaughter does. They're these curly things, that hang down beside the ears. And I tell them they're guy catchers. And so I asked my granddaughter how her guy catchers are doing, and she says, not well. And I said, well, why do you keep them? So anyhow, Albania, November 2025. We were blessed to have the privilege of going there. It was moving, heart-touching. 5 days there. The food was great. The fellowship was a whole lot more. We spent a lot of time in cafes, restaurants, sitting there talking. And Samir and Kayla did such a wonderful job of hosting us. Sorry, I wanted that picture. They were great hosts, good people. And we just couldn't have enjoyed the trip more. Tim did an awesome job of putting the trip together. And the days spent there were awesome. I'm amazed here this morning at how God keeps pointing at the same thing with so many speakers here this morning. God brought this verse to me. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh the harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white, ready to harvest. What are we doing sitting here? The passion that I felt here this morning, so real, was send people, send people, send people. Are we as churches serious about sending people? There's 2 churches here that have sent people. How about the rest of us? It's a passion on my heart. Are we as pastors living and teaching in a way that our congregants see that we are about the Great Commission, that we are about sending people here or into other countries? Are we living that example, or do they see us enjoying our posh church houses and our posh houses and just being relaxed being here? I'm not going to go through very much of the trip, but I'm just going to point out the very important parts of the trip. The group that went, you have Samir in the front there, his daughter Anya, she was with us most of the time. And then Allison, which is Tim's daughter, she was such a trooper, such a blessing, having a 16-year-old along, and she just put herself into the trip. Beside her is Tim, her father, Stephanie and Trent from Sarasota, Florida, myself, Miss America there beside me, and then Franklin Beachy. We had such a good time on the trip. Friday night was where, I don't know how to say it, my heart was so touched. We spent that night, the ladies with the sisters of their church, and we men with the brothers from their church. And they wanted to ask us questions. And they're asking these simple but profound questions. And we're sitting there under our breaths, crying out to God for wisdom to answer these questions. A simple question. How do you do brotherhood? Do you want to answer that for me? We've grown up in churches that have done brotherhood. How do you tell these people who are, may I say, starving for fellowship with other churches, who are passionate about living what the Bible teaches and believe the Anabaptists are following it? How do you tell them? How do you do brotherhood? Another question. How do I raise my 6-year-old son who's in the public school system, taken care of by his grandmother at times who is not a Christian? How do you raise him? Just question after question, good questions, and you're trying to answer them. It was such a time of rich fellowship, such a time of just pouring out our hearts, and them pouring out their hearts. Just the fellowship of Christians who had never met before. Saturday evening, 4 of the single men from their church wanted to take us 4 men out to eat. And we sat around that table for hours, again, just talking. They had questions. I'll just put it in plain words. There's 6 single men in the church there, mid-20s to mid-30s. There's basically no single ladies. And those single men are just like we are. They'd like a wife. And they're like, what do we do? But they're committed to following God. What do you say? I just told them, God has a way. I don't know what it is. God will take you there. God has a way. Follow him. Stay faithful. And God will lead you there. Sunday morning, we had the fellowship meal after the service. And just fellowshipping there again with the church. As I preached that morning, seeing the rapt attention of the congregation as they sat there, drinking in the Word, tore at my heart. What are we going to do? Who's going to go? We can look at the churches beside us and say, why don't you send someone? Or we can go home and look at our church and say, why don't we send someone? Isaiah 6:8. Also, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And whom will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. As we left Albania 3 o'clock that Monday morning, my wife and I knew that we want to stay involved in the work of Albania. God bless.
It was an incredible trip. Brother Samir, if you make your way up here, it's such a joy and a blessing to have Samir and Kayla and their children here. Looking forward. It's a blessing to have Brother Samir here this time of year so that he can share with us here. And so we're looking forward to, as we explore how we could partner with the church there in Albania, the wonderful church that Samir pastors, as we explore what that partnership could look like. Samir is another visionary. He's got a lot of, and he instills that vision in his church. And so he's going to share some of their vision for what they want to do, what they want to see happen in Albania.
Well, after coming up here after Brother Phil, I was thinking I'm going to do a bad job and ruin everything. So, thank you. Okay, first of all, I want to thank you all for making possible our presence in this conference and giving us the opportunity to talk about the work of the kingdom in Albania. I'm also commanded by our congregation to bring their greetings to you and their appreciation for your commitment to help us grow in faith. This help and fellowship reminds me of a spiritual house which the Apostle Peter describes in his first epistles. He says, "As you come to him, a living stone rejected by man, but in the sight of God, chosen and precious, you yourselves living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house to be a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ." Well, 2 teams sent by Impact International in Albania has been a blessing and encouragement to our little flock. They have sharpened our understanding of the kingdom, challenged our way of living the Christian life, and encouraging us in the midst of the spiritual fight, which is going on within and outside of us. The struggle of offering spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God continues, and we want to share some of it with you. The city of Tirana, where we are living and testifying, has grown rapidly in population during these last 30 years. In fact, it has almost tripled, and about half of the people in our country live now in this city. The area where our church gathers is at the heart of the urban side of Tirana. Most of the non-believers there are newly married couples with little children. God has blessed us, making possible the birth of a small congregation of followers of Jesus. This is a recent picture of our congregation. We had the privilege of testifying the name of our Lord in everyday life encounters, in the streets, or through evangelistic events. Just this past week, we were able to print the book, The Kingdom That Turned the World Upside Down, by David Berceau, translated in Albanian, and I am very excited for this. We pray and hope that it will be a helpful tool, especially for evangelicals in our country. We would love to see other believers in Albania and Balkan region. Why not? Albania is a doorway either to Europe or Turkey and other Northern African countries. And as we share the same, a mixed meal of, culturally speaking, a mixed cuisine of Western and Eastern, we can share also other cultural things which can be a doorway to those countries. So the battle is not easy down there, as it is not easy everywhere. But there, not because of the direct persecution of Christians, but especially because of a specific strategic attack that the enemy is doing in society, and especially in the church. Children. The children in Albania are suffering now the consequences of the lifestyle of the adults outside and inside the church. Their education is getting worse every day. The teachers in public and private schools don't know anymore what is right or wrong. Many, many scary things are happening to these children, and most of their parents are terrified by this and feel powerless. 2 months ago, our government made a law that indirectly stimulates the children in schools to question their gender. It's amazing. It's, I don't know how it happened this within 30 years, coming from being under the communist regime and restricted and knowing nothing about the world outside our country, and now implementing these laws, which are required to us by European Union in order to be part of that. So people are so confused and so terrified what's going on. On the other hand, we think this dark situation represents a golden opportunity for us to shine the light of Christ in our country by starting a Christian school ministry. We think this school will help our children and the children of the non-believers to escape from the spiritual abuse, and will be a great opportunity to share the gospel with their parents. In fact, some evangelical Christians have already tried this. They got a license, which is unique in our country, for a Christian school, and they called it the Pathway of Wisdom. As you can see here in these pictures, there was a lot of interest from the parents to bring their children, and the best thing was that the Christian teachers could integrate. They were allowed to integrate the biblical teachings with every subject in their curriculum. But unfortunately, this past year they had to close the school due to the lack of financial support. I talked about this situation with the founders of this project, Pastor Landy and his wife Diane. They told me they are afraid that the government may withdraw their license if the school will not restart soon. But they assured us that they would be happy to collaborate or even pass on the license to us if we will be able to start a Christian school. Another interesting encounter happened 2 weeks before coming here. The neighbor next to our church hall, okay, this is the building where our church gathers, and this is the facility that a neighbor owns. And the neighbor next to our church hall has this property of 4 floors with 6,400 square feet spaces, which he is renovating and is planning to give for rent. When I presented to him the idea of a Christian school, he seemed excited about the project. Immediately after that, he confessed me that he was a committed Eastern Orthodox believer and that he respected the way we as a church are treating people in the neighborhood. So last Sunday, he came to our church meeting, and afterwards we had an opportunity to share the gospel with him. We don't know yet the outcome of our efforts, but we are praying for a Christian school in Albania that would bring the light, a light that will shine for many years there. That's our dream, that's our prayer. We would appreciate your prayers, your help, and especially your expertise and experience by coming in Albania. Start this ministry and fight with us the spiritual battle. It would be great if a couple of families or young teachers from your churches would come and make it possible. Please, find your Michaels in your churches and send them to us. A second project that we think would be a very good tool to reach out the people in our urban area, in our city, is a coffee shop ministry. Coffee time is a distinguished characteristic of Albanian culture. People sit and have conversations a little bit longer than the rest of the world. This will give us an opportunity to use that place as a contact point for connection and sharing the gospel with the clients. This this idea would be ridiculous 25 years ago, because everybody, if you go on the street and then open a Bible and start to preach the gospel, many people will gather around you. But we Albanians learn fast. So we learn to this curse of individualistic life, and now we have the same struggles, unfortunately. So a coffee shop has become something that people, is the only place where people gather, and when we have a possibility to connect with them. So this is actual Christian coffee shop run by some evangelical organization in our city. We think that a place like this, probably close to a university campus in Tirana, would be a great way of connecting with young non-believers in our city. Please pray for this, and pray also that God will bring some of you or from your churches to help with that in Albania. Our need, of course, is financial, but primarily we need people to pray and commit to Albania. People, they are a great force, a great power that bring the blessing in the areas where there's a spiritual need. In the end, I want to leave you, brothers and sisters, with a verse that describes very well the reason behind our fellowship and the joy it brings when our Lord is the bond of it. The Apostle Paul writes to his beloved brethren in Philippi, "I thank my God in all my remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine for you all, making my prayer with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Samir. All right, how to recap all of this. So India with Tim and Gina, and soon Michael and Catherine, Ash, they're forming a team there. We'd still like to recruit another family to join them. We think 3 families is a great number for a team. We're also offering short-term opportunities in India if you want to go, your youth want to go, for a short-term, 6 months, a year, and live there, experience a different culture, be mentored in ministry in another culture. Those options are available. Albania, you heard Brother Samir, his vision, incredible. That church, it's an amazing church, amazing time of fellowship. You will be sharpened in your faith if you go spend time with them. So we are recruiting some families to go join them in their vision, expertise in education. Also, we are heavily recruiting for 2 families to go to Albania for at least a year to explore the opportunities and to begin the work there. Detroit, you may remember us. Did I say that correctly, Joe? Good. I used to say Detroit. Man, that did not work. Thinking about Albania, Allison and I counted up how many cappuccinos we had when we were there in 4 days. I'll just let that. It was an incredible number. The coffee shop in Detroit that we talked about, the cafe that we talked about a year ago at least, and we're still working on that. It's been a bit of a long process. We're in negotiations right now to purchase that. Our vision, again, for that would be to reach the local community, a direct witness to the local community there, building connections with the local people. Secondly, we look at the cafe as a gateway to other ministries in the community. We have a vision for other ministries that could come through that faithful presence of Awake Cafe there. We would also look to make this Awake Cafe a model of a profitable business as ministry Yeah, just a reproducible model of doing profitable business as ministry. Also a place to send our youth and our families for intentional service, providing intercultural living and ministry experience, hopefully education and ministry, and we envision that this could grow into maybe a training center. So the way, as negotiations stand currently, we will be needing to raise $450,000 to purchase this cafe. The building comes fully furnished, and the lot that it and the lot with it. So we're praying for that, and we're praying that God would set ablaze the vision that we have for Awake in some of your hearts, and that we could reach out to some of you and procure those funds. So pray for us as we work through that and as we develop this vision in Detroit. Myanmar. So sadly, we are missing Matt Weaver from Door of Hope, lead pastor of Door of Hope. He was going to share the work and ministry they're doing in Myanmar. For the last 20 years, they've had 2 orphanages there. That church has sponsored 2 orphanages. In the last 12 years, they have opened up a drug rehab center, and so they are sponsoring two orphanages and a drug rehab center. Incredible foundation to build on, a ministry that's been going on for 20-some years. And they've reached out to Impact, wondering what it would look like to partner with Impact and what we could do to build on this foundation of their established ministries and to focus more on church planting. So we're in this coming year, we're exploring what that partnership could look like. I'll be traveling with them to Myanmar, and so we're going to look at what it would look like to form a partnership with them. A church that has an established ministry, it's incredible, phenomenal that we could partner with someone like that. So another thing that I've been thinking about that's really been on my heart for the last year has been a member care couple. I've talked about 2 of our focuses, sending equipped and trained workers, and also churches sending workers, churches actually sending their workers. Another focus that's heavy on my heart is taking care of our workers. And as I wrestle through what that would look like, and I've talked to many different people, and I think a good place to start with would be a member care couple. So we are looking to recruit a member care couple, strong pastoral giftings who have the flexibility and availability to travel to each of the fields at least once a year and establish a relationship with the workers on the fields, and then to be able to, at a moment's notice, drop what they're doing and go in time of crisis to be present with the if such a time would come. So I hear over and over again the importance of member care. It's something that just comes up repeatedly. I've heard from those who long for it. I've heard from those who thought it was kind of unnecessary until they found themselves in a time of crisis and they look back and see how vital it is. So I'm looking for nominees this weekend from someone in your church who would, both the husband and wife would have strong pastoral giftings, who could do member care for us. God is at work. He's doing incredible things, and he's inviting us to be part of his great work. And what an incredible privilege it is to partner with him in his work. God could have chosen many different methods to get the message of salvation across this world. He could have written the message in the sky. He could thunder. He could proclaim that message in a thundering voice in which every language could understand. He could send heavenly messengers to every people group, but he didn't. He chose the church. He chose you and I and our churches to be the method by which we reach the unreached people groups. And we must go. He chose the method to be proclamation, relationship, and presence. We must go. We must live our lives in full view of these communities, demonstrating the lordship of Christ over every area of our life. We must proclaim the message, and to proclaim the message in a way that it's understandable to the people that we are reaching, we must be present and we must live among them. Live among them in open view. I've said it before that I am, and you've heard me say it, I'm fully persuaded that missions is a core theme that runs through all of Scripture from Genesis to Revelation. God is missionary. It's who he is. All through Scripture, you see God making his name great, and you get to the New Testament, and you see all the missions activities in the New Testament, and you read in Revelation how it's going to end with all nations, tribes, peoples, and tongues standing before the throne and worshiping God. And if this is a central theme through all of Scripture, if this is who God God is at his core, then it is crucial for the vitality of each of our churches to be fully involved and to be fully invested in missions. And it is crucial for ADC as a whole to also be fully involved and invested and active in missions. And I've also said this before, ADC with our vision, practice, and giftings, ADC is well suited for church planting and to do this work. I believe that God brought ADC together. He established ADC and has given ADC its current vision for the building of his church in at least two major ways. The first is to nourish and grow our people, to shepherd well our people. And the second is to spread his glory across the earth, to raise up godly men and women who give their lives for the cause of reaching our cities, our nation, post-Christian Europe, and the ends of the earth, the unreached people group. That's where my heart is. So, I am completely bought into Impact International's purpose statement to call our people from every generation to make disciples of all nations, bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth through lives transformed by Jesus. And this is what we long for. We long for persons, for families, and for whole communities to be transformed by Jesus, to be living in peace and shalom, to be following Jesus in their culturally appropriate ways and making the glory of God known in their part of the world. I know that each of you are involved in missions and in ministry. I'm honored to serve with Impact International, and I'm honored and I'm excited that Impact International is ADC's mission arm. We're here to serve you, and what a group you are. Perfect for missions, for church planting. So, I'm grateful to be director of Impact International. I'm grateful to serve you. Please continue to pray for us and to support us as we participate, partner with God in this great work.
Anything after that is anticlimactic. That is the heart and core of ADC and who we are. Thank you for each one of you. You came, you unburdened, and you did it in a hard way. You were there. There's no doubt. You were there. You witnessed, and we felt that today. Thank you so much. I'm going to go right back to the action items that need to be taken care of with the educational arm. So you guys want to, who's addressing that? Mark, are you? Paul?
Go ahead, Mark. Sure.
So you heard Paul describe what we're looking for here is essentially taking the 2023 committee that we had. It was a task force put in, and I think what most of us realize is what happened there in 23. Dean transitioned over into Zolliken, and it kind of put the pause on what we're doing here. Also want to make clear that Zolliken Institute is a standalone institute with its own board of directors. And so that's why we can't just roll it under ADC. It is its own board of directors, but we're looking to partner with them, and the values align. So any questions? And if there's not questions, we would be entertaining a motion and a second, and then adopt this. It does mean that we will be looking to you for people to be on this board. This is an ADC board that would then be responsible for creating and connecting with Zolliken and what that looks moving forward. It would also be a board that could potentially help Samir in as we think of planting, as they think of starting a school in Albania. So there's school administrators in your churches. There's many one of our strength of our people are the schools that we have. And so we have a lot of people in our churches that have a school administrative background. Those would be perfect for this, or someone that has post-high school education as well. So any questions? And if not, I would entertain a motion. Okay, I can just wait. Is there a motion to proceed here? I make a motion to proceed. Okay, motion by Judd, and second? Second by Omar. Thank you. Any further discussion? And if not, all those in favor of adopting this motion as it is written up here, please raise your hand. Okay. Opposed, same sign. Thank you, and we'll write that as written, and you'll be hearing from us for as moving forward to establish this committee to kind of like moving the task force into a more permanent committee. Thank you.
Thank you for your cooperation in that. Omar, would you make your way up? Omar Stoltzfus. We introduced last year, actually, there's a lot of excitement in the air for those who witnessed the Gentle Rain Sunday school curriculum. I'm going to give Omar just a moment or two. There's exciting things ahead for us there.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share here what's happening. So, like was stated last year, we gave out some samples of the Gentle Rain Sunday school curriculum, and there was a lot that has happened over the last year, and we're very grateful how God has led us through that. We have two ladies from church that had a vision to write a new curriculum, and the purpose is, I want to make this very clear, the message did not change. The message is the same. That the goal was to bring some of the stories in from the Old Testament and New Testament, stories that are not very often talked about, to our children. So that's the goal of Gentle Rain. I just want to share a verse of the vision where this kind of came from. It says, "May my teaching drop as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, like gentle rain upon the tender grass, and like showers upon the herb." And you think about our children, how their hearts are soft. And this is like the Word of God, like a gentle rain soaking into their hearts. And that is our goal. I want to share this too as far as Sunday school children age. I was a part of a prison crusade in December, and there was a chaplain that had made a comment that just struck me. He said they're looking now at how big of a prison system they need to build by checking the welfare system of the 7, 8, and 9-year-olds. And that is not okay. Those children will be our next leaders, be it whether it's in churches, in missions, and I think it's our responsibility to take that to heart and to teach those children. And I'm confident that you have a good teaching program at your church, and the parents are doing well, but this is just a supplement that we would like to offer. So we are ready to launch our first book. We do have our first set that is ready to launch. Book number 1 is actually ready to take orders. And we have one book that we would like to give to you free. When I say that word free, I know it always perks up Mennonite ears. So that book is free for you to take. One book per church. And you look at it, and what we would really like to do is we would like to take some pre-orders, and as soon as you can get us the order, we will know about how many books to order for our first, for our launch, or our first book here. Then after that, we have 3 others. There's a set of 4 that goes with this book, and it's enough of lessons for 1 year. It's 50 lessons. So if you pick your book up out at the table, and also you will have, there's a sign-up sheet out there. If you want to put a pre-order in, you're welcome to do that. Take it. We do not have the price on, but it will be very comparable to other curriculums that are out there. We just weren't sure yet what the pricing would be on that. So God bless you, and we're looking forward to what this will do.
I'm excited for that. In my perspective, there's a void for our people of relevance to our youth. There's a lot of material out there that I'm not sure it's relevant to this group necessarily. Our youth, I read through that and I was immediately struck by, this is pertinent, this is fresh, this is good, this is stretching for our children. So I'm delighted what these talented young ladies have done and the process that has come. So please support them as you can, and you're going to get what you pay for. Don't be cheap. Okay, free is not free. Thank you for that very much. By the way, stand up. My hiney was hurting. Here's this too. I'm going to ask the team to come up, both Impact and my team, guys. That is, ladies, you have your turn yet in a moment. But we're going to do the Q&A as in a moment here. Just going to go right into that. I promised you that. Everybody always asks for the state of the ADC, and yes, I had words to say, but they pale in comparison to the impact that we just heard. And I'll share a few words probably, but really the voices that we heard from Impact International is the heart and soul and core of what we are and want to perpetuate. But at this time, I'm going to just, again, there's no questions off limit. You can sit again, and we'll have you speak up best you can. Actually, if you would stand, if you speak, that way we would know where the voice is coming from. Dave, look at the man. He's got a mic ready to bring you. So please, what is it you'd like to quiz these guys out on? I need Impact up here. I suppose they're going to be as much. There's Judd pointing fingers at people. So. Who's first? Right over to James. Get the mic to James. Jonathan, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. He's going to ask how many are staying for his session tomorrow morning.
Yeah, don't be late for breakfast. No, I'm just kidding. So I just have a question. Our family has been just tremendously blessed through involvement at Faith Builders. 2 of our boys graduated from there. And I'm curious, is there, where does Faith Builders fit in light of the partnering with Zolliken? And is there any room for other partnerships there? Certainly not anti. I voted for this partnership with Zolliken. I think it's fantastic. Just curious if there's any comment about the connections with FB and so on going forward.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. That's a question that we actually wrestled with. We expect this, especially from ADC side, to have continued strong relationship with Faith Builders, SMBI, and EBI. Are those kind of the 3 primary ones that there's others as well, but this is not going away. Zolliken is talking to EBI and Faith Builders especially. And so they're working we have a really good relationship with both Crit and with Stephen and Gerald up at Faith Builders. And so that's an ongoing conversation. We wouldn't have started this if we would have felt like it'd be competition. Especially on the credited side, that's something we're offering that they're not on Zolliken. They feel the need for a conservative Anabaptist accredited program. So that is that piece. So I feel like we're coming into a spot that we don't currently have a place available. My son just graduated from Faith Builders, so we see this as complementary versus competition. But great question.
A mic back here.
So in the situation that we have, this would be more for like Impact Albania or India, in the situation that we have some youth and people from church that would like to go, but not necessarily a full crew or however you want to team, what does that look like as far as teaming up with you guys in order to send a partial team?
Yeah, that's perfect. Are you talking like one of the shorter trips or to go?
Yeah, what you would have done or what, like the trip that you would have taken.
So what church are you with?
We're with Berea, with the youth leadership team there.
Okay, so I'm trying to keep an updated list of all the youth groups. I should actually just get permission to steal that list from the youth retreat, but I didn't have permission, so I tried to call all the youth groups and get their names together so I could have a list and make you aware of these opportunities. One thing to keep in mind, we will be doing hopefully a summer camp like we did last May. It may not be, might be toward the end of May this time or June. We're not sure on the dates, but that was an incredible experience for those youth that went. And I think we would look to repeat the one that Mike Oesch took 9 of their youth with in end of November, beginning of December. We hope to make those two, to continuously do those. And so that's a mixture of youth groups. Awesome. The one that went to the summer camp last May was, I think, maybe 5 from 5 different churches. We get the group together and send them as a group.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, thank you.
As a follow-up, Tim, and we're discussing with Tim Kipfer to do also a potential student exchange, something like for an exchange student. So you will very likely have the opportunity to be able to send some of your seniors over for up to 10 days for a kind of a school experience. And so that's also coming. That will also be multiple schools available way this looks.
This is good. James Pate.
I heard somebody mention Honduras, and it caught my attention. Who is it? Does ADC have someone in Honduras or one of the churches?
Thank you, James. No, that is a church. That is a initiative that. Well, let me say it. There's a couple from our church that is in Honduras under MAG, Missionary Aviation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So just a question for Tim. I could just say it publicly. Christian Light has Christian Light Missions in Honduras, and just curious if you're looking for more partners. I know ADC has unlimited resources and personnel that they're looking for.
We're absolutely looking for more.
Yeah.
Judd, close your ears. I am wide open to opportunities and love to explore what partnership could look like. Absolutely. Yeah. I tell Judd to close his ears because I'm always getting ideas and he's always shooting them down. So.
What's next?
Lonnie, Tim, we have just a really quick question here. So Tim mentioned very briefly, and I'm just going to throw it out to y'all. So we do have a contact list of the youth in your churches. We got that list primarily for the youth retreat. We didn't feel like we could just give that out. So that's where but we are looking for contacts, and so we are trying to build we would welcome a way to connect your youth better, especially on Impact Internationals. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's one of those problems unsolved yet. Well, I don't know if we can we just take your youth and just transfer them over? I feel a little, I'm just not sure if we can do that.
Yes, you can.
There you go. This is how our board meetings go.
Just behind you there, Dean.
Yeah, I was just wondering, would there be a possible way, this is Dean, for thinking of a way of sponsoring the ministers and things at Zolliken so that we could help with education, or even sponsoring of students? I mean, I understand we have 30 churches. If this is a time where building the community means a lot to the young people, and even now that we've actually started and having resident people, resident young people there, the energy is just growing, If we could have a sponsor of, just one from each of those 30 churches, it'd build a pretty nice community. And then also, being able to study back in a home with your young ministers or old ministers alike, some of the courses I think would be a big boon to the education as well. So any way we could serve in that way, I think would be excellent if that'd be possible.
Interesting concept. Thank you, Dean. LV right down here.
Sorry, maybe this question was answered last evening. I was looking on the Zollikin website, and it looks like the intensive course, is that this week?
Yes, it is actually. Yes.
Okay, and so that was my question. How often does that occur, and is it usually going to correspond with when we're here? Because if it's geared toward pastors, that's, don't make me choose between those two.
It's a good question. We will certainly move it. Yes, sir. It's the way we schedule this, and this is developed around that. But you're very right, and that can easily be moved. But yes, it does work for the way we do 2 times a year. So 2 semesters at the beginning of the first week of each semester, one in the spring and one in the fall, and this just happens to hit that one. Yeah, but good idea. And we'd love to have you too. That'd be great.
Yeah, great point, Elvie. It actually is.
I'm sitting here hoping someone will ask some deep theological question to see these guys sweat, but
We do have a personal prayer request for Tim and his family. They're going back to Indonesia. It'll be 5 years. They literally left their heart there. The prayer is that they will come back. Go ahead.
Does Zollikin offer leadership training?
Yes, so we do have some, as in the past, we've typically done leadership training over a period of 8 weeks there, like locally. The idea is that we'll also expand the idea of the intensive for leadership training. So Zollikin does several things. So it does have the accredited program. We also do a lot of work locally with business development and leadership, business education. And so those are kind of another piece of it. But yes, in the business training, there's leadership as well as so there's pastoral, and then pastoral and leadership, and then business and leadership. So okay. Michael Miller back here. Michael, if you would stand. I do want, if you have any questions for academics, Michael is your man. He's the provost at Zollikin, and he spent 20 years in higher ed, even more than that, I believe. But so he's your man for those questions.
James? Okay.
I forget who had it on the screen, but I asked my wife, what is a bivocational pastor?
Are you being serious, James? The greatest struggle of an Anabaptist pastor is bivocational pastoring? Good point.
It means having 2 jobs plus pastoring.
I'll confess that I use the term, it's technically incorrect. Bivocational assumes 2 incomes.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you guys brought your deacon and elder boards? It would take us a month. Chris?
So we heard a lot about overseas missions and missions in foreign countries and all of that, and that really feeds the wanderlust in me. I love to travel and I love to experience new things. But I think for the most of us, missions at home is actually probably a bigger thing. And I just think it would be really interesting to have some really good practical shoe leather ideas about how to have missions at home. impact your local community, activities you can do. How do you overcome they're Mennonites and we can never be Mennonites kind of a thing? And just practical, everyday ways to reach our local people.
Thanks, Pastor Chris. And Chris speaks from being in the heart of Rosebud, one of those inner city places. And I think if you hang around, I think we might hear something on that in some of our theme-based weekend. Will that be adjust exactly, but point well taken for all of us. Begins right here.
Lonnie, can I just say something? Chris, great question. I would just say that until our churches start really getting engaged in our at home level, the potential for, missions out there is birthed out of at home. And so by God's grace, we're privileged to have probably half a dozen families, households from non-Mennonite background at our church, and they added a tremendous dynamic to our congregation. And I think it just fuels the fire then for missions abroad. Sorry. Your question is way too long to answer. I mean, how do we do that? Again, it starts right here. It has to start right here. So, long question, but worthy to talk about.
Got a few more minutes.
One more thing. I'll just say one more thing. Pastor Layton, who's in the back there, just put a chat on our leadership group from someone that had reached out through our website again, a local family from Mishawaka. They're planning to be at church on Sunday, and there's another couple that's there that came via the internet. That's or the website. So don't throw that option away. So
that's what actually some of the notes I had. Some of the things we're pursuing behind the scenes. One of them is, How Relevant Are We on social media. Some of you have your website. Some of you don't even have a website. I would encourage you to do so. We have literally our live stream Sunday mornings. It's amazing where they're plugging in overseas and all that. It is a ministry. It is not just woke. It'd also be more comfortable if we could click on your link and go to your website to get more emails and stuff versus the email that you have personally there. So there's some advantages to having a website. There's other things where some of the things we like to entertain. Just hang around, guys. Is just data entry. Having an app, a church app that could encompass your church and be connected also to the larger body ADC. That is not small feat. That's a very large order. We have done some preliminary looking into it. Actually, Mark has. And it's a big order, but it would require a dedicated representative from your congregation. It's only as good as the input. And so, but we need to stay relevant. And one of the things about relevancy is that. How nice is it? My son-in-law, I don't know a family in their church, he picks up his app and boom, there's not only all the information, the picture, wow, it's nice. If there's something we could do, but again, we're already being asked. We're 10 years and we had somebody poke us saying, well, I think you guys are relevant now. How many folks do you have? How long has it grown? How many families do you have? All that. So again, we're a little short on our data information that we would like a dedicated person to do. So we're researching some of that. It's a big ask, I know, but things to work towards. If you got input on that, expertise in that, we'd love to hear from you. Quickly, just basically, I'm just going to share just introduce the next. We need somebody for the next meeting. You've got them up there. That's all I really have. There's a lot more I'd love to say, but just thank you again for your being gracious guests for this facility. It means a lot to us and to them that that it's a great witness, their responses this weekend. They have stepped the level of service up dramatically because of their interest in this group. I'm not sure, Marvin didn't quite finish. I thought what he was going to say when he called in, they want to know if we're going to bring our band again this year. If you were here last year, you know what they're referring to. The line dancing that happened back there in the hallway. But anyway, yeah, leave creativity. Thank them for every meal, whatever it is. I want to say the same for the sound people. Dave, Noel, and Zach Weaver back there doing this extraordinary business all the time. They're like, it's like a referee. You don't hear anything until it goes bad, and then everybody's mad at somebody. It's just so nice. We've done it without them. We know the other side of that coin. Thank you, guys. Really, thank you. Same with the worship team leaders, the speakers who are yet to come. Thank you. And the big, wonderful part is the front of us yet. More than lunch, but then at 2 o'clock sharp, we'll be in here, and we have a great hour, 2 hours to spend here together, and for people to freshen up and get back here. Just trying to think if there's anything I really needed. I'm going to share this from the leadership team, and I think the impact would reflect this. It is truly an honor. Yes, an obligation, but it is an honor to serve your churches and you as pastors. I mean that very sincerity, in all sincerity. We're here to assist and support in whatever way, and if you can speak into that, is there anything you need, let us know. We don't have all the answers, but we might know where to go for them, and together continue this great relationship. This is what I missed when I inadvertently evolved into an independent church. This is what I missed. And it's the highlight of my year, fellowship. I retired at the end of the year, a year ago. You can gather all the things you want, but it's this investment that is eternal and lasting. This richness of relationship. Invest in it. And we do so to our communities at large, and that's how we are missions. The same thing, invest in people's lives. Okay. Anything from you guys? And as always, none of us up here could do this without our beautiful brides. They take the impact of our ribbing and us being gone at times and on Zoom calls and whatever. The support they are is extraordinary. It really is. Thank you. Thank you in every way. Thank you. Marv, is dinner to be served? Let's stand together. Just a reminder to all the speakers, we're going to meet in the Jaeger room, as I announced to you all, at 1:30 for introduction and prayer. Father, we thank you, we praise you, we honor you for the wonderful fellowship and the fact that you've favored us in the prayers that we had when we walked the dark roads of not knowing what's next, and Impact International is formed, and here we are, Father, just at the the embryo stage, and yet things are already happening. Pray, Lord, you would enlarge our vision and our commitments, and Father, we want to be your servants, your hands and your feet and your mouthpiece, to share love, beginning in the home, beginning in our own communities, in our own churches, in our own workplaces, and then to the other parts of the earth. Bless this time, bless this food, bless these hands that come to prepare us, these servants that have served us so well. We're grateful, and let us be gracious. For it's in Jesus we pray. Amen.